If this episode sounds a little weird or off, it's because I've taken all of everybody else's music, like celebrities' music, off of my episodes. So if I'm making references, that's what that means.
Can you hear me? Take your hands, put them in the air. Can you hear me? Let us dance. People just don't care. Can you hear me? Take your feet, put them on the floor. Can you hear me? On the street, that's I'm looking for.
Welcome to the Queen's Table podcast. I am your host, Marissa J. And I have been gone for a long time. Yes, I am well aware. There have been certain things that has happened in my life that I'm having to deal with. Just a ton of stuff. But a lot of it I cannot talk about right now. But trust and believe, once it is all over, you will be the first to know. And it is quite a story. So, I have tried recording this several times on my computer, and it will not take the audio file. I have absolutely no idea what happened, but it's not doing it. So, I am recording on my phone. So if you hear any background noises, I completely apologize, but this is a podcast that I really wanted to get out there. Now, I've been struggling with finding a topic to talk about. There are tons of things that I want to speak on with this show. And I know that I want to be able to get a lot of this stuff out. However, doing it now or within these last 2-3 weeks, since I've been wanting to get back on the microphone, it's been difficult because of the things that I've been going through lately. And I felt that if I were to speak on anything like this, any of the topics that I want to talk about at this point in time, I would not be able to give it 110%. My effort would not be in it, not completely. And I didn't want to seem disingenuous. So this morning, while I was doing my laundry, I just put in my clothes into the washing machine, and I sat down and I was writing out different topics that I could do today. And I get a message from a good friend of mine. Now, for this story, I'm going to change everyone's names because I've only gotten permission from one person, the person that this is mainly about. But just for the sake of the story, I'm going to change everyone's name. So I get a message from, let's call her Barbara, saying, hey, one of the Facebook community groups that I've added you in, there's a woman on there who is needing help getting out of an abusive relationship. Now, I know you've been in an abusive relationship that you were able to get out of. She needs help. So immediately, without even thinking about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Is she expecting to hear from me? What's her name? So I find her on Facebook and I message her. And I said, hey, let's call her Sarah. I said, hey, Sarah, Barbara has sent me to you. I know a little bit about what you're going through. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I can do. I stayed in a shelter last year, a women's shelter, and I'm going to get in touch with one of the directors, and we are going to get this figured out. So I got a little bit of information from Sarah, And I messaged one of the directors. Let's call her Candy. So I messaged Candy and I'm like, hey, this is the situation. Is there enough room? She can be here on such and such date at such and such time. And so she goes and she checks and she's like, yep, we've got room. Make sure she's here. I'm like, absolutely. I go back to Sarah. I'm like, Sarah, you've got a place. You've got room at this shelter. They are wonderful women. They are here to help you. So on such and such day at such and such time, do you have a ride? I can be there. I no longer live in the area, but I will make the trip. She says, I'll be there. And this woman now has somewhere to go. This man has been physically abusive and mentally abusive to this woman for years. Years. And just the fact that she even wants to get out is absolutely amazing to me. Because when I was going through the same situation, a relationship in which my ex was mentally abusive and verbally abusive and physically abusive and physically abusive, we'll put that in there a couple of times. He would say things to me like, you have all these kids. You don't have anywhere to go. Where are you going to go if you were to ever leave me? And he would say it jokingly, but it's so many times that I really and truly believed him, that I had nowhere to go. So when he would hit me or choke me or punch me while I was pregnant, cheating on me with women, men, and transsexuals. When one of these transsexuals that he had an affair with died from an AIDS-related seizure, I really and truly felt that there was nowhere for me to go. I have 4 children. I came into that relationship with my oldest child. He has a different father. Came into that relationship with my oldest child and I left with three more. So I have a total of 4 children. Every time that I would talk about going back to school or back to work, my birth control pills would end up missing. And then a couple of months later, find out that I'm pregnant. This is what they do. This is no secret. So I really and truly believe that I could not do anything without him. That my life and that my children's lives would be completely over if I ever had the audacity to leave this man. But the day that I had our daughter, my 4th child, our 3rd child together, the day that I had her, and we were supposed to have, it wasn't the day of, it was a day or so later. They keep you in the hospital for 3 days. But anyhow, the day that he was supposed to come and pick us up from the hospital, he was at another woman's house with my 3 boys, including my oldest child, who had absolutely nothing to do biologically with this man. He was at another woman's house and left my children there with her brother, whom I've known. I don't know these people. Let me tell you something. I am a helicopter mom. Unless I'm best friends with this child's mother, you're not playing with them. Point blank. If I don't regularly go and get coffee and talk with this woman, you're not playing with her kids. I've always been that way. I'm a helicopter mom. I know that. I am aware of that. I admit that. Is it the best thing? Probably not, but there's a lot of people out there in the world that are pretty disturbed. So yeah, I'm going to be a helicopter mom. I've let up a little bit, but at that point in time, my kids were never out of my sight. And so he left these children with this man while he was out gallivanting with another woman, while he was supposed to be picking me and his daughter up from the hospital. That was the day that I decided this is it. You've now involved, you can do whatever you want to me, which is a very unhealthy way of thinking because my children saw what he was doing to me. So that is a very unhealthy way of thinking, but I thought, you can do whatever you want to me, but as soon as you involved my children in your fuckery, excuse my language, but as soon as you involve my children with this, I'm done. I can't. I cannot even. I won't do it. And I didn't do it, and I left. I was too afraid and too ashamed to go to anyone. I called my friend that picked us up from the hospital. I called her just screaming, so incredibly angry. She's like, we'll figure something out. And then I hang up the phone and I don't talk to her for months. I didn't talk to her or anyone for a very long time. I ended up staying with my sister. She ended up moving to Georgia and I stayed with my mom for a while, and then I gotten into low-income housing, and then I quickly realized that it wasn't a very safe place. So moved back in with my mom. It was a big thing. It was a great, big, huge thing. But I was able to finally overcome it and get past it and move on with my life, because regardless of what I'm feeling, I still have 4 tiny humans that are depending on me for survival. So I had to figure it out and figure it out quickly. And I did. Last year, we ended up going through a very rough spot and I ended up in a shelter. And at this shelter, it was the only one really of its kind. It only allowed women and children. No men were allowed. And the way that they set things up was new to me. And I don't want to say too much about this shelter, because for the safety of the women that are still there, a lot of things are kept quiet and only exposed to those who are getting in and getting help. So I'm not going to say a lot about the shelter, but I will say this: it is wonderful. Now, I came in during its infancy, and there wasn't a whole lot of help for women in my situation. And what I mean by that is I'm college educated. I do not have any mental disabilities or physical disabilities, and neither do my children. At that point in time, I had already gotten away from my abuser. And so therefore, it wasn't directly after an abusive relationship. There just wasn't a lot of help. The maximum stay at most shelters is anywhere between 30 to 45 days. We were there for close to 5 months. It was a long time getting out of that rut. But while I was there, I had as much help as they could possibly give me. They did everything to try and set me on the right track. And I was able to finally get out of there and have my own place and have a decent job. Life happens to everyone. You got to figure out every time that you fall down, you've got to figure out how to get back up, just like a child who is learning how to walk. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to get out of a terrible situation and then everything's going to be hunky-dory for the rest of your life. That's not realistic. But you fall down and then you get back up and you learn from those mistakes. And you try not to make those same mistakes. But for me, it was a little bit harder. I was born in 1986. I'm 31 years old right now. I will be 32 this year. And even though I am still technically a millennial, I'm an older generation millennial. And older generation millennials, we tend to bottle things up. Tend to not let people know when we're hurting. We tend to keep that to ourselves because you don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable with your problems. So that's what I did. And there are still things to this day that I don't feel comfortable talking about that happened in that relationship. Now, if I'm able to tell you on a public platform, hey, this man, he cheated on me with men and women and transsexuals, and one of them had AIDS and passed away, it's a very real thing. And so you can only imagine. You can only imagine, because I'll never say, what else he could have possibly done that I will never speak about. It's a horrible situation. Absolutely horrible. But I was able to get out. And this woman, Sarah, she was able to get out. She is able to get out. And this podcast, normally my podcast is geared towards African American women, okay? That's no secret. But this episode is geared towards all women everywhere. If you know someone who is in need, help them. Help them. If you are in need, if you need help, say something to someone, anyone. If they don't listen, you say it louder to somebody else. You have a voice. You are not useless. You are not hopeless. You can get out of that situation. You absolutely can. If I can do it with 4 kids, no job, no vehicle, no credit, nothing, you can too. You are strong. It's in our DNA. We are able to grow life and then give birth to it. You're stronger than you think. You are so much stronger than you think. Get out and get help. These Facebook community groups, they were just starting whenever all of this was going on with me and my ex. And I didn't know anything about it. And even if I did, well, if I did know, I probably would have said something. I probably would have. But we live in 2018 now, in which you can get on Twitter or Facebook and figure out what it is that you can do to get help. You can get help. There is help for you. And if you are someone that is able to help someone, go to a woman's shelter and see what you can do to help. Don't be a part of the problem. Be a part of the solution. If you see someone on the street corner panhandling, don't just turn your nose up at them. Don't give them money either. Why do I say that? Because if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. Help them figure out how to get a phone, download Indeed or Monster or any of these job apps. Help them. Help them out. If you are a business owner, instead of putting out their now hiring signs in your window or in the paper, or you guys can tell I'm old school. But instead of going to these different outlets, why don't you go to a women's shelter and say, hey, if you know of anyone with these qualifications, send them my way. I am hiring. What better person, what better employee to have than someone who absolutely needs this job? Their very livelihood is depending on it. Who better? We've got to be able to start helping each other out. We've got to do better as a community. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. All of that, it's out the window. A person is a person is a person. Okay? We've got to be able to do better. We may not be able to make a lot of change out there in Washington, but you can do it right here at home. And I don't care where you're listening from. You don't have to be from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You can be from anywhere. If there isn't a community Facebook group in your community, start one. You have time. I crochet clothing and ship it off to Atlanta, to different boutiques in Atlanta. I teach a crocheting class. I work full time. I also sell CBD oil online. I'm working on my second book right now. And I still have time to help someone that's in need. It doesn't take that much. It really doesn't. If you don't know, I guarantee you know someone who does. Let's start helping people out instead of downing people or ignoring people. That's a big problem that a lot of people have these days. Oh, well, that post is 3 days old. I'm sure that they found someone. You don't know that. You're not a psychic. You don't know if that person has found help or not. You have absolutely no idea. Closed mouths do not get fed. Feed your spirit. Feed your soul. Don't do it because for the bragging rights. And in this episode, this is not a bragging episode. This is a, hey, as busy as I am, I'm still able to do this. You can too. That's what the kind of episode this is. Okay. I'm not going to go on Facebook and go, I've helped someone and it feels so cathartic and this, that, and the other. Don't do it for that. As a matter of fact, you don't have to tell anyone. You really don't. Do something for someone, not a good deed for the year. Do a good deed a day. And don't always see someone as a charity case, because I guarantee you the majority of my listeners, you're about 2 paychecks away from being in that situation. You're a bad fight with your husband away from being in that position. You are one tragedy away from being homeless. Just one. People are people. And we've got to be able to understand that and work together. So that's it for our show. Be sure to check back with us often, as I'll be uploading tons of content here within the next couple of weeks just to kind of play catch up. At the end of each show, I usually give a shout out to a Black-owned business, but today I will be giving a shout out to the shelter that we were speaking about. It's called Safe Haven Stepping Stones, and you can find them on Facebook, or you can email them at steppingstonesafehaven@gmail.com. If you have any topic ideas or just want to write into the show, you can write in at tqtpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks and have a good one. I'll see you next time.